Hi guys, today we're going to make a fun Halloween wreath using this super cute bow from MnBCreations on Etsy. And we're going to use a oversized large skelly head. So it's going to be super fun, super cute. Let's get started. Okay, so I'm starting with a 24-inch artificial pine wreath base. I have just squished the sides in to make it more elongated, and I'm going to start with a 21-inch mesh, and we're just going to go all the way around the outside and just add some small loops. I don't want them too big, but we're going to add some loops too around the outside. So I don't measure, I'm just going to gather, make a little poof, and then tie it off in these pine ties. That one's a little bit too big, so I'm going to fix that. And hopefully we have enough of this mesh to go all the way around. I think we will. This is just some leftover 21-inch mesh that I want to use up. I'm just taking two of these twist ties, or two of these pine ties at the top, and making a little hanger so that I don't use them when I'm designing. Okay, so we have all of the 21-inch mesh. Now I'm going to go in and fill in with some of my 10-inch black mesh just around the outsides. We'll add just a little bit. We can always add more later, but with this large skeleton head we got going and the bows, I don't know that we're going to need a whole lot of mesh, but we can always add more. I'm just using up the last of what I have of this black, and I don't measure, I just pull and cut. So they're probably around 17 inches if I had to guess. Okay. Okay, now I'm just going to take, I'm going to do this on my chest, but I just take and curl in the ends and then walk it together to make a little ruffle, and then I'm going to put it down. So I'm just going to go around the outside here and kind of fill in between these poofs with this black mesh. Okay, so now we have our base with all our mesh. Let's stop there for now. If we need to add more later, if we still see some of the pine later when we get close to the end, we can definitely add some more. So now we're going to take our skelly head And I got him last year. I don't remember where because it doesn't say. But he was $24.99. So we're going to take our skelly head and figure out where exactly we want him. Thinking right about there. So I'm going to take some pipe cleaners. I'm just going to add these right up in his jaw area so that we can tie this in. Twist this a little bit better. There we go. Okay, let me get one on the other side. Just getting my placement for where I want him, and I think right there is good. So I'm just going to take and tie him to the back of this wreath, and then we'll add some glue to hold him in as well. The other side, and I don't want him, trying to make sure when he is upright that he's like I want him. Okay, so now that I have him tied in there with our ties, I like where he's at. I'm going to add some glue all up around the sides of him so that it attaches to this mesh and he will not go anywhere. Okay, we have added glue all the way around Mr. Skelly. We'll let him dry. And I'm going to get our super cute bow from MnBCreations. And I think we're going to set it up here like it's a little hair bow. Careful when you're sticking your fingers down in here because we got that hot glue. I just touched it, but luckily it was just warm, but be careful. Okay, let me find the other tie. kind of want this bow to sit up just a hair. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of glue, but I'm also going to put another roll of mesh under there to kind of help hold that up. Let's add our mesh under here. So, and then I'm going to add some glue. I'm just going to hold it there for a second. And let me get the bottom part of the bow. And I'm going to hold it there for a second. So that way I have the exact placement of how I want this super cute bow. Let that dry. Okay, so while that is going to continue to dry, I'm going to make our bow with our ribbon that we're going to be using. So I'm going to set this to the side just a little bit. And I am going to be using this 4-inch black and silver designer ribbon from Direct Export. Let me see where I want my tail. So the bow is going to go to, we've got the bow up here. So now we're going to do one down here, opposite of that. So let me just kind of eyeball how I want my tails. Okay. So I do not do well with hand bows, so I am going to use my Easy Bow Maker. And this tail is about, I would guess about 12 inches. Now we're gonna dovetail it so it'll be a little bit shorter when we get done. I'm going to make about 7-inch loops. Make another loop on this side. Again, about 7 inches. And I'm going to cut my tail. Set that to the side. Now I'm going to use this gray velvet. This was one we had in the shop last year, but it has sold out. And I'm going to about 6 inches now on this one. Okay, cut my tail. I'm going to cut the tail just a little bit shorter than the black one. We can always trim them once we get it on. Okay, I'm going to add in a pop of white. going to go to about 5.5 inches. So my loops are getting just a little bit smaller each time. And our last ribbon, I have this gray that we're going to add. And I'm going to go about 5 inches on this one. Now I'm going to take a zip tie. You can use pipe cleaner. I just prefer to tie my bows off with a zip tie. Before I make it too tight, I just want to fix my loops. Make sure they are like I like them, along with my tails. Okay, and then I'm going to take pipe cleaner. Go in the back. I'm going to add 2 just so we have a little bit extra length. I don't know that I'll need it, but sometimes it's the one makes it hard getting through the pine base. Okay. Let me clip this zip tie. All right, now let's get our bow added right down here below Mr. Skelly's chin. Fix my loops, and I want this to stay, so I'm going to add just a tiny bit of glue back here just to hold that gray ribbon up by his chin or her chin. All right, now let's make our, I'm just going to roll this one up. I'm not going to cut it because I don't want it to fray. So we're just going to roll. And I think I'm going to roll both of the velvets. So you probably can't see what I'm doing. So I'm just taking and just rolling it. Then I'll cut these. I'll dovetail these 1.5 inch. we go. So super cute so far. Okay, now I want to take and add a little bit of that ribbon up at the top. So I'm going to make a little, sort of a little half bow. It'll hang down on the side a little bit. Get our gray. Trying to decide if I want to add the 1.5 inch, 1.5 in there or just leave it. I think I'm just gonna leave it. We'll add some of the 1.5 inch around the wreath. So I'm just gonna roll this again. Just doing the same thing at the top. Okay, now let's add some of the 1.5 inch around the sides. I'm just going to take and put them on top of each other. We're just going to do some tails, maybe a few little loops. Let's start kind of down here on the side. I think I'm going to do a little loop. And then we'll do one more loop. And we'll cut our tails. Give them a dovetail. And give the other ones a dovetail at the bottom. Gonna take and add some tails up at the top. All right, we're going to do the same thing on the side over here. We're going to add some tails and a few little loops. fix this. So I had the gray on the top, so I want to make sure I keep the same. So I'm just finding a twist tie over here and just placing that in there. So I'm going to make a little loop. And we're going to come up kind of by Miss Skelly's head. And then let's do another one up underneath this bow. And I'm going to go back and add glue where I tied those in once I know that that's the placement that I want it. Okay, so let me take a look at it. Oh my gosh, super cute. Okay, and our little glue did not, I must have messed it up, so let's fix this. Back on Mr. Skelly's face here. I'm gonna hold it there for just a second so it doesn't. While I'm holding that, I'm going to add some glue to these ribbon ties. Do this side. So I'm just adding a dab of glue where I tied that ribbon in. It shouldn't go anywhere with the ties, but just extra precaution. Okay. Now let's add, I have this little coffin. I'm gonna add it right up in here. I'm just gonna add a bunch of glue. This is Gorilla Glue. It holds very well. So I'm just going to hold that in place for just a second. And add just a little bit right around where this tie is and a little bit under that mesh there. There we go. I brought these ornament balls. I'm not sure if I'm going to use them, but let's look. So I got these at Christmas time. So if you see stuff in black and white, grab them because they were perfect for Halloween. Let's see if I want to use them. I don't think I do. But let's see. Mr. Skelly is so big, I don't know. Well, that kind of looks cute right up under there. Okay, so I'm going to add this, and that kind of helps push our bow up too. So I'm going to add a bunch of glue. And we're going to add some below, just to make sure it's touching that mesh. I'm going to hold it there for just a second. Now, since we have one right there, we want to balance it out. So I'm actually going to put one down at the bottom. Let me hold this for just a second. Okay. so we've got one up there. I think we're going to need one down in here. So at the bottom, kind of underneath the bow. I don't want it like, yeah, like right underneath that bow. Alright, so let me push this down under there. I'm going to get my glue gun and just go around the sides. Get another glue stick. Okay, let me hold that for a second. I'm going to take this bow and just add a tiny bit of glue just to hold that there, so it's in place where I want it. Okay. So that's what we have down there at the bottom. Now I have some of these black glitter honey locust sprays that we're going to go and add around the sides. So I'm just going to take and clip these off into little pieces. That one was being difficult. All right. I believe we do still have these in the shop. We've got them in several colors. And these work really good to go around the outside and kind of fill in where we have that exposed pine at. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay. So let me start at the bottom. I'm going to add one. And you guys, I did not pay attention, and that little hanger I made is at the bottom. So we'll have to find another hanger on the other side. So let me untwist tie this. I was not even paying attention to that. Usually I will wait and do my hangers at the end, but sometimes when you got a lot going in, you run out of ties, so I like to save a couple at the beginning. Okay, so now I'm actually gonna clip these. These are hanging a little low and we don't want to see them. So I'm gonna dip this in my glue gun or my glue pot. Don't like the placement on that one, so let me try that again. I don't know why that one's being difficult. Okay. I'm just going to go all the way around. And add these to the outside. have to be mindful of how many I have because I only have 2 of these. I only brought 2 of these sprays. I really should have probably brought 3. But after the video, when I hang it up, if it looks like I still need some more, I will get another spray and add it. So I'm just walking this all the way around. I'm just placing these all along the outside. We will fix this ribbon when I hang it up and get it where we want it. For now, it's just gonna be there. Okay, I've got 2 pieces left. Let's add one more down here at the bottom. Super cute. I know it's hard to see the whole, maybe hard to see the whole thing, but in the camera it's pretty big. Okay. Now I have, let's see, I have this little spider. I want to add him right here to our little coffin. So let me add some glue on him. I'll hold it there for a second. I'm going to add a little bit of glue to this foot here. Just to make sure it stays. Okay. And let's add, I have these, came in a pack of 2. So I think I'm going to add one up here to his head. So probably like right in there. So let me add some glue there. Hold that there for a second. Okay. Now I have some of these black flowers. I got these off of Amazon. I will put the link in there for you in case you're interested. So I'm just going to cut these up. And we're just going to go around to some of the spots that I don't want the green leaves. So I'm just cutting those off. But we're going to go around and add these flowers to some of the spots where we're still seeing the green pine. I'm going to keep this one a little long. So it's gonna, I want it to go at the bottom. So I'm going to add this piece down here where we added this spray. I'm just going to put it up under there. Okay, I'm just going to go around and find like right where we tied this. Is a good spot. one right up by this coffin here. And I think we want one maybe right up here by his, let's see. I think I want one right up there by his head. I keep changing if it's a girl or a boy. That's okay. I want to add one right up here by this bow, or this little half bow. I'm going to add this other little piece that like we had at the bottom. I'm going to add it to the top. Okay, got some of our florals in there. Now I've got got two gray pumpkins. I'm trying to decide if I want to add them. I think I do. So let's find where we want to put our little pumpkins. I think we're going to stick one right there. So now that we have one here, let's add one over here. So I'm going to add that kind of down there. Let's see. Kind of right in there by his head. Make sure I got glue, hold it there against his face, and add this little flower back in. There we go. Perfect. Okay, and the last thing I think we're going to add, well, we might have one more, but I have these little, again, these are little black ornaments that came at Christmas time. So I'm just going to add these around. I'm going to put one like right in the center of the bow. Actually, I'm not. I think I'm going to save and put a little skeleton face in the center of the bow. But I'm just going to go look around and see if there's any spots that has some pine showing or a little hole that we want to kind of fill in with some of these balls. Probably could have done without these, but I think we have a lot of good coverage. There's a few little spots, so just depends on how your design is. If you don't really see any of the pine ties, you can totally skip this part. a couple more. Let's see. Put one right up here by the pumpkin. Okay, I think I'm gonna save these last two, and when I hang it up, if I see any gaps or little bald spots, then I will I'm gonna dovetail these ribbons that I forgot up here. Anyway, if I see any little spots when I hang it up that need to be filled in, then I'll use those to fill it in. Okay. And lastly, I have these little skeleton heads. I got these off of Amazon last year. I'll try to find the link for you. I'm just going to place one right here in this center of this bow. And it kind of matches the little one that he's got up there on the top of his head bow. All right, guys, I think this is it. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to hang it up, see if there's any spots I need to fill in with some of these leftover balls or these leftover skeletons. And that is it. Hope you guys enjoyed.